Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. This is the last segment of our program this morning. We start off a new series titled Nafsopathology with Karim Maliki. Karim joins us in studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings to you, Maulana, and all the listeners. Thank you for having me here.
Barakallah, Allah Ta'ala bless, inshallah. Karim, the program, inshallah, before we get to the aspect of nafsopathology and what it means, we want to know a little bit more about Karim Maliki. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, and so forth.
Well, Karim Maliki, my actually born name is Vladimir Filyakov. I was born in Russia. I was born in a Christian family. When I was 18 years old, I became Muslim. And the story how I became Muslim could be another series. So we just focus on saying I became Muslim, alhamdulillah. Then I started learning more about my deen, took Islamic studies, learned Arabic. After learned Arabic, came to South Africa in 2009.
Okay.
Started learning humanities, was interested in history, humanities, philosophy, politics, everything related to that, as well as Islamic studies. So that's in terms of my, you could call it formal studies, because I was always thinking that I am interested in Islamic studies, in fiqh, in Quranic, Arabic, as well as I was interested in understanding what's happening in the world. Well, I was never think that I will end up studying, reading, or practicing, or teaching anything to do with psychology or even closely related to that, because I thought, no, I am the person who likes to reading books, and psychology is about dealing with people. So exactly opposite that I am doing. But well, then life turned differently.
That's always interesting when life turns differently.
Well, we are taught through lives. One of the things, we're not taught through the books. And even when we learn from the books, we actually learn from the teachers who interpret for us. So at the end of the day, it's a human-to-human transmission.
If I may, I'm very interested in, you mentioned you're from Russia, you came to South Africa 2009. It's a couple of years now, alhamdulillah, you've been in South Africa. How are you finding it?
Well, South Africa, I would say, is a country of opportunity. The whole Africa is a continent of opportunities.
Barakallah.
South Africa is a specifically country of opportunities, specifically for Muslims. Considering the fact that Muslims, not big in numbers, but very strong in presence, and all the opportunities are there to practice our teaching and make a positive difference in the lives of people, and that will what brings people to the truth.
I love that, especially the fact that from a Islamic perspective, and you being a person from outside, you can see that, subhanAllah. And I wish and I hope and I make dua that more of our people can see the great opportunity there is for us to, the freedoms that we have to practice Islam openly. We have, the one thing I always marvel at is that many of our masajid is run by, I call it ordinary individuals, that is not just working class people. They don't necessarily need a particular degree or something, but they can be part and parcel of some Islamic affair or some organization that has some type of improvement in Islam. So moving from Russia, the only thing when I think of Russia is the cold. How's the weather difference? Big difference?
Well, if you look at Moscow, it can be very cold and very hot. Plus 25 in summer, minus 25 in winter. So that's why quite a contrast.
Subhanallah. And where in South Africa have you been staying?
Cape Town.
Cape Town.
All of this time, well, I've been traveling a bit, but not much, like main provinces, KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng. I mean, I was in Northern Cape as well, but mostly it's Cape Town.
Cape Town. Where in Cape Town, if I may ask?
Where in Cape Town, I'm in University Estate, but I have been moving around, was staying in Crawford, was staying in Tableview, like Atlantic Seaboard, what they call Cape Flats areas, more central as well.
Okay, how's Afrikaans?
Ik kan niet Afrikaans praten. One thing I need to know.
That's nice. That's nice. Minimally you can say that. Minimally you can say that. How about the cuisines? How do you find the food? Marv, I'm just trying to, little bit,
I find it diverse.
Okay.
I find it diverse, and I think that shows what South Africa is.
Subhanallah.
Diversity. I would be happy to say in unity, but there are still many issues to be ironed out in the society.
Yes, there's a lot of fights between the Kusista and the Bola type of people.
Wish only it was between the cook sisters.
Alhamdulillah. So, Alhamdulillah, you are now in Cape Town. You've been in Cape Town in South Africa for a while. The concept of that we are speaking about, the title of the new series, inshallah, for this month of October, inshallah, will be Nafsopathology. Can you perhaps elaborate what is the, let's break down the words Nafsu and pathology, min fadlikum.
Yeah, so basically we have psychology, that's clear. Psyche, human psyche, we can use the word self, we can use the word ego as the opposite of just bodily aspect, material aspect of ours. Except there is one problem. Psychology today, it's a secular, very materialistic psychology as its mainstream. It's atheistic, it doesn't believe in nafs, everything it seeks to explain through evolutionary theory. So then when we say psychology is treating human psyche or human soul, we just have to say, well, it's just a metaphor. So psychology is treating the thing which it doesn't believe it exists.
Okay, yes.
So we say, no, there is something more than this. Yes, there is a badan, there is a
body.
There is body and there is nafs, which is the soul. That's why, for example, you'll find Abu Zayd al-Balkhi, many centuries before Freud, which many Muslims are unaware about, wrote a book, and first half, he spoke about diseases related to body, and he called it Masalihul Abdan wal Anfus.
Okay.
So, first one is about badan, body, and the second part is about soul. That's where he spoke about
So
anger,
the masalih, the
depression,
correcting,
anxiety and fear, and so on. So we have both of those things. And because the word psyche or the word ego, those Greek and Latin expressions don't mean anything today, well, we have to go back and we have to use the word nafs to talk about treating those emotional things. And when we say pathology, I don't just mean diseases, because that's what the word pathology means. Pathos and logos, it means talking and dealing with emotions, and as well as logos, speaking and reasoning. Because it's not enough, and that's what I see the problem with the mainstream psychotherapy today. People just see it as conversations, and conversation about your past, your problems. But look, if just conversation could solve the problems, you can just complain to your friend about how life is difficult and your problem is solved. It's not working like that.
It's not.
Simply not working like this. You go to people, you complain, and they charge you, well, and the problems are still there.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Yes, I love the fact that you, subhanallah, going back to the actual discussion of psychology and the fact that the word psychology, like you mentioned, is no longer a study of psyche. It's more the physical chemistry of the body, and many times when therapy or there is medication given, it's more about treating the chemical or the body itself, but not actually treating the nafs. And so, inshallah, that we are in the month of cancer or breast cancer awareness. And so, obviously, with this particular discussion as well, we find that people, when they are diagnosed and when they are perhaps given the news that they have breast cancer, then they do find themselves in difficulty. So some of the discussions that we hope to have in the series, inshallah, which will be spanning over the entire month of October, would be, as well as the healthy relationships and family and communication and community. When life gives you challenges, how to overcome those challenges in a positive way, in light of the Islamic principles and so forth. And what we could call, and perhaps you mentioned emotional well-being, subhanallah, how to deal with those things, inshallah. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. And so, for the question that I have is that when people come to you, what is a normal process that you go through?
Yeah, basically, I have to make it clear, I'm not a health practitioner. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor, right? My angle is entirely different. I don't like the expression mental health, because that assumes that people have made some conscious mistake. So people like are fools, people got it wrong. There is a difference between being stupid and being mad. Okay, there's a difference between person who is not capable to make correct decision and the person who is suffering from what they call today mental health issues.
Yes.
I don't believe it's mental health. I believe it's emotional well-being, because we are much more emotional than we would like. I mean, anyone can think you are in a positive, good state. You are happy. You feel generous. You feel positive. You feel optimistic. But now you think that someone is irritating you. Now you are seeing everyone as your enemy sometimes when you are in such emotional state. So our thoughts are very much, let me not say controlled, but directed through our emotions. So what am I doing in Nafsopathology? I'm helping people to overcome those emotional problems, which people like to use the word triggered, but I prefer the word prompted, because if we say triggered, it literally makes us very helpless, like we are just machines. We are more than machines. We are human beings. So for example, you will have person like we are having now this conversation recorded for radio, and someone would be scared of public speaking or scared in front of camera, or someone who's having fears in different situations. For example, talking to someone significant, maybe it's a boss at work, or maybe any other person in authority position, as well as things like depression, anxiety, OCD, procrastination, you name it. It's all emotional situation. People try to solve it rationally, and people come and say, why am I scared to protect my boundaries? In the moment when the situation is different, the moment person walks into the situation and person wants to say, please stop insulting me, please stop treating me like this, please respect me, or trying to tell yourself, what are you scared, be calm, it's not working, because the problem is not conscious, problem is emotional. So what do I do? It's basically in the beginning of every session, I ask to set up a goal. What is it that you want to achieve? That's the difference between what I do and mainstream psychotherapy. In mainstream psychotherapy, people just go and talk, and psychotherapist is listening, and this can happen for years, lots of time and lots of money are spent, but can you say that your life actually has improved? You need to specify a specific goal. For example, I have to deal with my boss. Now I see my boss as really overloading me with work, makes me work overtime, or mistreating me. I don't like it, but I cannot hold my ground. Or for example, with my partner, with my spouse, sometimes I really need to give a feedback. These things are affecting me negatively. But the moment when you are supposed to say this, you feel like your throat is dry, and your heart is pumping, and you're running out of breath. So this is all very physical. You cannot solve it mentally. So what we're going to do it? We work with the emotions. So you are feeling, let's say in this situation, agitated. How do you want to feel it? You want to feel calm and confident. We set up as a goal. We work with the problem, why it is in this situation, because you see this situation as dangerous for you, why it is happening. And more often than not, we have to go back to the childhood situation, to the traumatic experiences, which person have never actually thought about it. People only remember them through the sessions, and then we start working with them, because in that traumatic experience, unconsciously, we have made the decision that any situation which resembles like this is a death threat.
Sheikh Karim, you also mentioned the fact that the Nafsopathology bridges the gap between what we have modern day psychology as well as the Islamic perspective and Islamic teaching. So, how do you tie those things in?
So you see, there are two possible deviations here, and I always try to have the middle path. So first one is obviously materialistic. Materialistic, it's say that all we are just products of evolution, piece of flesh. There is no soul. We do have animal parts in us, but that's not what makes us. Yes, we have instincts, and it's exactly those instincts which kick in. For example, instinct of self-preservation, of survival instincts, which can cause, for example, let's say panic attack. So this is true. We do share those things with animals, but we are much more than that. We have other things which we share with angels, and this is what we call intellect. And intellect is just much more than chemical impulses in the body. Intellect is what we call aql, and people can, as Maulana, scholars disagreed. Imam Abu Hanifa said it's in the brain, Imam Shafi says it's in the qalb, then scholars reconcile it and say, no, its root is in the qalb, in the heart, but that it illuminates itself in the brain. So we have this aql, and this is the angelic aspect of ours.
Sheikh Karim, barakallah, ya salam. I'm really excited about the new series, inshallah, and we hope to, delve into it more and more. So every, inshallah, we will be speaking more about it tomorrow, inshallah, tomorrow morning. And then we will be happily getting into the Nafsopathology, and some adding to it some of the concepts that is connected to breast cancer awareness, and how we can get away from those negative emotions and overcome it, as we mentioned, inshallah. We want to say Jazakumullah khairan to you, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala bless you, and Allah Ta'ala grant you khairat and barakat. And whatever we learn from you, inshallah, we can practice, inshallah, and you get a great reward for that, inshallah. Sheikh Karim Maliki, Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Amin wa iyaakum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
That was Karim Maliki giving us an introduction into our new series, Nafsopathology. In a few minutes I have left. Before I leave you, we conclude with our dua for the day. And the dua for the day, we want to continue with a salawat. And the reason for that is, as even though we have now moved from the month of the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we still want to continue with the very important salawat. And because salawat is something that we do throughout the year, and so we increase in our salawat. A very simple salawat, it might be simple, but very salawat itself is extremely valuable. And the salawat, we make salawat, and we make send our peace and our blessings on our beloved Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa alihi wa ashabihi, and his companions. So we say, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Again, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Oh Allah, send your peace and your blessings on our beloved Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and upon his family, wa sahbihi, and upon his companions as well, wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmiddin, and all those that follow them in goodness up to the day of Qiyamah, including ourselves, inshallah. I want to say Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless each and every one of you. Sabah al khair, sabah al nur, sabah al barakah. Allah ta'ala grant you a good morning, a morning filled with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a morning filled with the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am Mullah Fudail Jones, signing off for AM Awakening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.